For some reason the past few trainings were not ideal in terms of my energy as well as the enthusiasm itself. Like, I wasn't really enjoying those trainings and I couldn't find the actual reason. Maybe one of the reasons is that I wasn't really disciplined with my habits which I actually want to do, and for that reason, like, the, I don't know, confidence, the self-trust, overall like self-image wasn't there. And in that sense it kind of like translated into me not having that much like drive as well as the energy to push myself in the training, and overall the enjoyment wasn't really there, as I mentioned. But other than that, I tried a few attempts of full planche. Like the second try or the first one of those two was pretty good. I'm satisfied with that attempt, but there was one problem, that I pushed my wrists too much. Like, I didn't balance the strength throughout my whole body, but I mainly used my wrists, and that's a huge mistake because that can then lead to injuries, and that's definitely something I don't want since my back is still in crazy pain. Back to the session, I also tried freestyle and I didn't feel right with the bar and everything, and so I decided to let freestyle be for another session, and I just tried handstand push-ups, my new combination which I was trying during the last training, which you can check out. And And other than that, I was mainly fighting with like the whole weakness, or how should I call it. Like I didn't have the energy, as I mentioned at the beginning, and that's what I was fighting. Like I tried to be disciplined, I tried to push through it, do many attempts, but the strength just isn't there. I also tried the full planche on the high bar, and I definitely don't have the right or correct setup, and so I wasn't able to get into proper position, and thus I didn't hold it. But other than that, I think that's about it for the session. In terms of the lesson, it will be a pretty quick one, and it's that recently, or actually for quite a while now, and it was something that was mainly spread by Dr. Andrew Huberman, and it's like the overall science and scientific studies. And what I want to mention is that you should be careful, because most of the studies aren't actual like objective ones, because when you actually dive deeper into those studies, which many like experts, I will call them experts, mention, there's always someone that like sponsors the whole study. And when you check out the sponsor, many times, or in most cases, it's someone that just wants to make profit, for instance. So in a specific example, it could be if you have a study with taking magnesium or taking some kind of a supplement, then someone who owns a company that produces that supplement will sponsor a certain study, and that study will like in turn mainly focus on the benefits of that supplement, or it will create a study in such, or the study will be created in such a way that it will mainly get like the positive aspects of that supplement. And that's what happens with many studies, if not most of them. But of course there are exceptions. But the problem is that we can't truly like know what study is correct and what was done in the right way and correct way, and which study was just something that was paid by someone who wants to make money. And there were many instances when people started taking something, and after a few years, or maybe even less than that, another study came up and it showed that it was all wrong, and that thing that was promoted or that had positive results in that first study, that it actually causes health problems. I won't go into specific examples, but it's pretty easy, you can find it almost in anything, that suddenly after a few years they find out that it's actually causing damage, it's not healthy, and you shouldn't, like I mentioned that example, you shouldn't take that supplement. And so in this lesson I just want to warn you and make sure that you are cautious when you are watching Dr. Huberman's podcast or somebody else's, and you take those studies for granted. Like they say that taking magnesium 3 times a day, for instance, is the best thing which you can do for your body, and you do it right away, then you might actually get into trouble in the future. And so in that case, when you see some kind of study that makes you want to try that thing out that they were like experimenting with in that study, then make sure that you actually check out other sources as well, and don't just trust that one study. And something that is a bit more general is that even if that study isn't done by somebody who wants to make profit, then there is another problem, and it's that even if you were to put like all the people from the whole world in one study, you still wouldn't get the result or something that would be specific for an individual. And so in that case, whenever you see a study and you have also checked other sources, then don't do it exactly as they say in the study, but instead experiment. So if they say that you should take magnesium 2 times a day every single day, then you should try it out, see for yourself. Because as I mentioned, no matter how the study would be done, it still wouldn't be for one specific individual. And for that reason, let's say if you take 2 pills of magnesium a day and you feel a bit tired, you don't feel well after 2 weeks of trying that out, then you can try taking 1 pill. And vice versa, you can try taking more. But of course be careful, because then you can get into other problems, which is that you could overdose yourself. And so of course be rational, but that's something that I wanted to mention. I believe it's actually pretty important. Don't just believe each study right away. Also check other sources, make sure that the information which came out of that study is actually true, and it's not something that was sponsored by somebody who wants to make profit. And hopefully this video was valuable, hopefully it was inspiring in any kind of way, and if you are interested and you want to watch something else, you can watch this video next.